So this thing is kind of insane. It is the Koorui 24E3. Don't worry, I hadn't heard of that brand either, but it's one of the cheapest gaming monitors that you can find on Amazon. And to be honest, it has no right being this good. Seriously, 165Hz, a fast IPS panel, actually good vibrant colors. Like, what even is this thing? To be honest, I kind of expected it to be a scam at this low of a price, but it just blows away every other budget gaming monitor that I've tried previously. Now this video was actually going to be about a different monitor, the Pixio PX248 Pro. That's also a 24-inch 165Hz monitor, which I actually bought before this one, and as soon as I started testing it out, I was just like blown away at how good it was. Because yeah, my personal monitor is a $1,000 240Hz OLED, but I also do have some pretty decent exposure to the budget stuff too. I know what to expect in terms of colors, response times, and stuff like that, and that Pixio monitor was just way better than every budget gaming monitor that I've tried previously. And then I thought, you know what, let's go even cheaper. $115. Like, how much worse can it realistically get? So I got this Koorui monitor in, booted it up, and I was shocked. Because as far as I can see, these two monitors have the exact same panel. Same colors, same response times, same size at just over 24 inches, same chin bezel, and even the same power adapter. The only real difference is the stand, the menu system, and some slight tuning here and there. Now I've thrown it on this monitor arm here, which I picked up for $25. Honestly, not the best, but definitely gets the job done. But yeah, let's talk about this setup because the value here is just extreme. And to be honest, the Pixio, I still actually recommend it. Like, the value that thing is cooking up at $170 is still really good. But if you want to save a few bucks, just get the Koorui. You can kind of budget for a monitor arm as well, which is just going to decimate basically every monitor stand out there, especially in the budget section. The monitor stand that comes with the Koorui is this thing here, which has like no height adjustment at all. It takes up a lot of desk space as well. So you're basically just going to be breaking your back hunching over using this thing, which I do not recommend at all. With just even a $25 monitor arm, I mean, it just really speaks for itself. You clear up so much desk space and you can actually just dial in the ergonomics of your setup as well, get it at a really suitable height. So this monitor and the Pixio, again, 99% sure they're using the exact same panel. One of the things that really blew me away here were the colors at this price point. Basically every budget monitor that I've looked at previously have had really dull looking panels. The color gamut is usually really narrow. If you try and use something like digital vibrance, you'll just start to get banding and not a really good looking result. But this panel just has so much life to it at this price point. It has a DCI-P3 coverage of over 85%. Of course, it's still 1080p, but damn, this thing is actually nice to use. The only way to explain it is that it doesn't feel like a budget experience. And to think that you can get this panel for $115 is just crazy to me. Part of the image actually looking good here is because the contrast ratio isn't even that bad. I measured slightly over 1100 to 1 for both the Koorui and the Pixio, and as far as IPS panels go, that's not a terrible result. The colors out of the box as well, pretty damn good on both of these, and you really don't need to touch anything. You know, I've reviewed so many gaming monitors, especially around the budget, and you have to do some fiddling to make the colors look usable, but both of these just look exceptionally good out of the box. And again, with almost 90% of that wide gamut DCI-P3 coverage, you can use digital vibrance quite aggressively on these monitors without any color banding or blobbing, and the visuals look really nice. Again, how is this thing almost $100? I just don't get it. And that's because usually at this price point, you know, between $100 and $140, the gaming experience is pretty compromised, right? You know, usually you have to settle for a 75Hz monitor, or even if you can find 144Hz, it's typically just a slow VA panel. But here we have 165Hz and it's a fast IPS. Like, it really just is a different level to the other stuff out there. Then, I mean, you just throw it on a cheap monitor arm like this and damn, like, what more could you want? Stepping up from this, I'd personally be looking at the ViewSonic XG2431. That's a 240Hz monitor, still 1080p though. Response times are a bit better there, but that monitor is around the $300 mark. So I think that really goes to show the insane value that you're getting here. And funnily enough, the colors on this monitor are way better than that ViewSonic. Also, even for myself being pretty well adapted to the best 240Hz and 360Hz monitors out there, dropping down to 165Hz here really didn't feel that bad. Of course, there's that initial, like, okay, this feels a little less clear than what I'm used to, but then you just kind of forget about it and keep playing. At no point did I feel like my inputs were too slow or the image was blurry or anything like that. And part of that is because we are actually getting some really decent response times at this price point. For those who don't know, the response time is the amount of time it takes for a pixel to physically switch color. And for a 165Hz monitor, each new frame is being shown every 6 milliseconds. So ideally, the response times here need to be faster than that to avoid ghosting and a blurry image. And on the Koorui, using the normal overdrive setting, we get a 3.5 millisecond response time on average, which is an extremely good result for a monitor of this price. Again, how's this thing almost $100? Even with the overdrive set to off, we are still within that 165Hz refresh window. I would recommend avoiding the extreme setting though. The response times are technically faster, but the overshoot here is almost 40%, which results in some pretty bad visuals and artifacting. Now, a lot of the monitors that I've tested so far with this new response time setup are admittedly pretty enthusiast class. Most of them are $600 plus, so as you'd expect, the Koorui and the Pixio here aren't going to be topping the charts, but the fact that they're even in striking distance is pretty insane. And yeah, the Pixio does seem to have slightly faster response times than the Koorui. I'm not sure if this is just tuning. I am pretty sure they are using the exact same panel because everything else about them is identical, but hey, maybe there is a slight difference in the panel. There is a tiny difference here in the response times. That difference can't be seen though when running some visual tracking comparisons side by side. I mean, to me, they look pretty much identical, and both of them have very minimal blur for 165Hz. And for a bit of fun, on the right there, I've also included the $1,000 240Hz OLED from Asus, which has 0 millisecond response times. And yeah, considering that massive price and spec difference, both the Pixio and Koorui are just looking like an absolute cheat code. Really just insane value for looking this good. Like, you can buy 9 of the Koorui monitors for the price of that OLED, if you really wanted to. And here's the UFO test compared to the budget monitors that I've reviewed previously, but no longer have. And the Koorui is both the clearest looking and cheapest in this entire lineup. Both of these budget monitors are FreeSync Premium and G-Sync compatible. I hooked up a 4080 to both and had no problems running G-Sync, so those lower refresh rate games will look great too. Now, the gaming experience on both the Koorui and the Pixio is pretty much the same, but there are some other small differences between them. The main one being the max brightness that you can set these monitors to. The Pixio can be set to around 310 nits, whereas the Koorui here can only max out at around 235. Now, 235 nits, as you can see, it's by no means a dim monitor, and we are in a pretty well-lit room in my opinion, but yeah, I would personally even dial this back a bit down to like around 200 nits if I was actually going to sit here and use it. And then of course there is the stand. Now the stand on the Koorui is just absolutely abysmal, but on the Pixio it's actually not too bad at all. It's kind of what you'd expect from an expensive ROG monitor, but again, even then, a $25 monitor arm kind of destroys it in terms of the ergonomics that you can achieve and the desk space that you can clear up. But yeah, how can you not be hyped about this setup, man? The value is incredible. Easily my new budget gaming monitor recommendation. I'll leave this and the monitor arm link down below for those interested, and I'll see you all in the next one.